We're back! Oh my gosh, it feels weird to be live right now, but in the best way possible. And Shane, I don't know if you feel the same way, but the last time we sat here on this, we were finishing 10 hours of production for UGC.
Wow, yeah. Yeah, I think I was like not sleeping, trying to get stuff done. I feel like I'd come out of hibernation.
I know, it feels really weird, but all that goes to say, we're so excited to be back. Shane and I went on vacation to Belize, And even though we had a very wonderful time, we are honestly so happy to be back home and back on schedule. And that includes this live schedule for Saturdays at 10 a.m. PST. So without further ado, do you want to just like dive into where we left off, Shane, which was business
Yeah.
related KPIs?
Yeah. So we just as a background, if you didn't join us last time we were live talking about the creative strategy course, we did talk about the basic KPIs that you need to know as a UGC creator. And then where we're going now for business related KPIs, we're really focusing on, now that you know how to talk your talk, walk your walk, now it's time to figure out how can I communicate with the client. And when I was actually writing some of the stuff to prepare for this, I kind of thought about how the stuff we're going to talk about is really learning the language of your clients, because they speak a completely different language sometimes. They'll be saying stuff and they're like churn rate, cogs, and the ROI on blah blah blah, and you're like, what the fuck are they talking about? So it's good to be able to like at least have a small grasp on what they're
Yeah.
talking about.
Well, and you make a really good point because like you said, last training we went over, actually it was, we did two previous live trainings discussing, it was like creative related KPIs, but also a few other things like I forget what it was, but it was like the
Mhm.
past, we did two parts related to this creative strategy course. The last one had to do with creative related KPIs, which are ones that we are in control of as UGC creators,
Right.
as creative strategists. But like you said, when you are working with your clients, you're going to hear like the head of marketing, the CEO, even like someone completely random just be like saying some sort of term, acronym, whatever it is. And it's not necessarily like you need to know all of this like the back of your hand, but it is nice to be familiar with it because I have been in so many situations over the course of my career. And I know I'm sure you have too, Shane, where you almost have to like Google what they said because you're like, I've never heard that before. And it's also not your job to
Right.
know. But when you do know these terms, when you do know these acronyms, all of a sudden, these points of contact are going to look at you like they know their shit.
Mhm.
Not only do they know their shit, but they know like a little bit about our world. And that intention can go a very long way, which is why we created this subchapter in KPIs. It's like the business related aspect is not in your control, but it's still good to know.
Amazing. So here's kind of a list of what we'll talk about today in terms of these KPIs, and um, the back end of this will include, I'm just going to skip ahead really quick, setting creative objectives, which is the title of today's lesson. So I'm hoping we get through these KPIs fairly quickly so we can get into this, but this is about being able to speak that language. And so we'll get to that after we get through those KPIs. And then is it worth just briefly glossing over
The
from last
list.
time?
Oh, glossing over the
Like these
yeah, go
ones.
back to like the main chapter maybe, like the yeah. So
Right.
the last training we went over KPIs. We went over, sorry, I thought you meant never mind.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
creative strategy related KPIs. These are the ones that you're in control of as a UGC creator and creative strategist. And so these are the ones that when we walk you guys through creating creative objectives, these are the KPIs that we're going to be referencing once we get through business related KPIs. So let's get through business related KPIs. And maybe before we dive into creative objectives, we just do like a very brief, like thumbs up, blah, blah, blah,
Right.
blah, 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 blah.
Right. Yeah, I'm in. All right, so let's get started on business objective KPIs.
And then we'll go through this relatively quickly. So, as far as lifetime value goes, you're for sure going to hear your clients talk about this. And this is super important because this is the projected revenue that a customer is going to generate for the business over the entirety of their relationship with the company. So, when you hear LTV, it shifts the focus from short term gains to long-term value and sustainability of customer relationships, which is playing a crucial role in strategic decision-making and really the overall financial health of a business. So when we say lifetime value, I'm going to give an example, but I'm going to then give a little bit more of just like a very basic explanation. So if a customer, so we're going to say me, I typically shop at a store for 5 years. So maybe it's, I don't know, a stint of, maybe I'm a big fan of Fabletics because I don't shop there anymore. But say, you know, a customer typically shops at Fabletics for 5 years and they are spending $200 each year. And that was so me when I was super into Fabletics. So $200 a year. That means that the lifetime value would be 5 years times 200 per year equals $1,000. And so when you hear your not customers, your clients talk about lifetime value, they're not just looking for, oh, great, we got our first sale, we're done with them. We don't want them to churn. We actually, once you get someone, it's easier to re-get that person more often than not, as opposed to having to go find a completely new person. Now, the business wants both, but you want to have a high lifetime value because that is where that kind of like long-term gain comes into play.
Well said.
All right. So as far as other business related or objective KPIs, we have CPA, PPC, CPC, and CPM. Now, these sound a lot scarier than they really are. And I'm sure maybe if you've had client-facing conversations, you've heard the head of marketing mention these. So when we say CPA, we're talking about cost per acquisition. Now, this is just the total cost of acquiring a new customer through a specific marketing channel or campaign. Now, it is a key metric used to measure the effectiveness and efficiency of online advertising. The goal is to have a very low CPA because you want to acquire as many customers, but you also have a limited ad budget. So it really comes down to how can we drive the CPA down? And that goes back to creative related KPIs. But when you hear CPA come up, that is what the head of marketing is talking about. Now, when we talk about pay-per-click, this is PPC, and this is where advertisers pay each time their ad is clicked. So PPC holds the ability to precisely target audiences, control costs, and measure results effectively, making it a key strategy. So again, this is something that you may hear come up, PPC. I would say it's less common than like CPA or even like CPM or even CPC, but there's a likelihood it may come up in conversation. So it's just nice to at least know that this acronym exists.
Well, and I would just even add that pay-per-click is a little bit more on the media buyer, because for you, you're looking at click-through rate, right? Because you're measuring against impressions that how many people that watch your ad click through. This is more going, well, at this amount of ad spend, how effective is the click-through rate?
Yeah.
So it's taking a little bit higher level look at it versus the ad spend, which is, like Kelly said, it's less important for you, but more important for like a media manager.
Yeah. Ooh, but I do like that explanation, and also how then it kind of, there are parallels to these business objective KPIs. Like you said, it could be click-through rate. So cost per click, this is the amount of money paid each time someone clicks on an advertisement. For example, if you spend $100 on an ad and get 200 clicks, the CPC is 50 cents per click. So this helps brands spend efficiently, measure the effectiveness of their ads, and optimize their marketing strategies and ensure profitability. So if you notice, there's kind of this trend where you are able to take these business objective KPIs and you are able to measure the effectiveness of your ads, but you go back to the creative related KPIs to then enhance the performance based on whatever the feedback is. CPM, the cost an advertiser pays for per 1,000 views or impressions of an advertisement. So these brands are focused on maximizing visibility and brand exposure. In this context, an impression is counted each time an ad is displayed to a user.
Does that make sense? Also, if you have any questions,
Please do
shout them
not
out.
be afraid to ask. If there is someone that is thinking a question and is too afraid to comment it, just know that there are other people that have the same question.
Absolutely.
No dumb questions. So CAC, you're definitely going to hear this when if you're in a meeting for marketing. And so this is customer acquisition cost. So this is the average cost that a business spends to acquire a new customer, taking into account all expenses related to sales, marketing, and other customer acquisition related costs. This can be a really, really great benchmark to measure the total health of a brand's marketing efforts, but also the overall business trajectory. Meaning, if you actually go back to the previous slide, we were talking about cost per acquisition. So this is the total cost of acquiring a new customer through a specific marketing channel or campaign. So this is more so measuring the effectiveness and efficiency of the online advertising. But now if you go to the next slide, Shane, we're talking about the business as a whole, which when I think of this, I think of when Shane and I had our cold chain delivery service during COVID, and we were looking at the CAC. And first of all, don't get into cold chain delivery. It is very expensive, but the cost, the customer acquisition cost, it's like that is just really, it really just shows the total health of a brand's, not only their marketing efforts, but the overall business trajectory. So if you have an expensive customer acquisition cost, all of a sudden that is going to affect other people in the business. And that includes contractors, UGC creators, creative strategists. The brand is going to be a lot more conservative with who they're investing into because they want to make sure that they're being strategic with who they're hiring to help with that CAC in the long run. So for example, imagine you spend $10,000 on marketing in a month and acquired 500 new customers. Your CAC would be $10,000 divided by 500, resulting in a CAC of $20.
I was just going to add, also just to think about like a big part of questions we always see is like when talking or pitching to a client about your creative strategy service. Sometimes they don't know what's in budget, and maybe this is a way to talk about their business and ask them. They might not be willing to share it, not always, but you know yeah, knowing these can also help you try and get your foot in the door in that sense of understanding, well, they really can't afford me
Yep. Or
long term.
let's drive down that CAC.
Right.
So a few other ones to just keep in mind. We have CPL, lead generation, ROI, and abandonment rate. So CPL is cost per lead. So this is the average cost that a company pays to acquire a lead. Now it is calculated by dividing the total cost of a campaign by the number of leads generated. So it assesses the cost effectiveness of marketing campaigns in generating potential customers. And when we say potential customers, I'm sure we've all been there. We get targeted with an ad and we click the link and a pop-up comes up and it says, do you want 10% off? Just submit your name or your email and that's it. And then the phone number pops up and they're like, okay, whatever, put my phone number in. That is you as the potential lead, because for me, I do it all the time and then I never pull the trigger and make the purchase for like most of the things just because I'm like, I didn't really see anything I'm interested in. But you are a lead because now they're going to take that phone number, take that email and put you into the system. You're going to start getting automated emails, automated texts. And so ultimately, it comes down to assessing the cost effectiveness of that marketing campaign and generating those potential customers.
Just a couple questions before we continue. I just want to make sure we answered. Hi, guys. Welcome back. I missed the beginning of this. Is this in the Creative Strategist program?
Yes. Thank you. It is. We're happy to be back. This is part of the creative strategy course. This is part of the free kind of like preview of it, which you can gain access to at ugc.pro, www.ugc.pro. And this is the business objective section of the course.
And then
They might not be. I am struggling to find UGC brand collaborations on Twitter because it seems like a lot of the groups on Twitter are posting the same exact collaboration campaigns and not responding to people. Do you have any suggestions? Absolutely. So if you don't already have our free UGC guide, I highly recommend that you grab it. It's a UGC Quick Start guide. And in that guide, we have tons of platforms featured going over it's like Brands Meet Creators, Fiverr, but then there's a bunch of other ones like Backstage. More exposure equals a higher likelihood of securing deals. So creating profiles on these platforms with UGC opportunities is a great way to start building a consistent business, I would say. Outside of that, there is cold outreach. There's also building a personal brand to enhance inbounds. But if you don't already have our freebie, go to www.ugc.pro and grab it there. And I think that's going to be really helpful for you. And then outside of that, shameless plug, we have UGC University coming out, and that is going to be very helpful.
Very helpful. All right, sorry. Back to
No, you're good. Thank you for being the organizer of questions. So we have lead generation. So this is so we kind of already talked about this, the process of attracting and converting prospects into someone who has indicated their interest in a company's product or service. It typically involves collecting a potential customer's contact info, such as their name, email, or phone number. Pretty self-explanatory.
I think the one thing that we did include this for is because you'll always hear people say lead gen. They'll always be like, oh, lead gen, like this lead gen thing. And it just means lead. It means like non-purchasing. Usually, most of the time it's non-purchasing, like we talked about, just getting their email or phone number. So if you ever hear lead gen, that's all it means.
Exactly. So we talk about ROAS and the creative related KPIs, but just for the sake of it, you also will hear return on investment. So this quantifies the effectiveness of marketing spend in generating profitable growth, guiding budget allocation, strategic decision making, and overall business performance evaluation. So outside of return on investment, one thing that we don't have here, but is kind of a parallel to it, is P&L. So that's profit and loss. And that might be another term that you hear when return on investment comes up into conversation, or if fast forward to the future and you are maybe juggling or managing a creative budget. As far as abandonment rate goes, the percentage of online shoppers who add items to their shopping cart, I'm pretty sure we've all been guilty of this, but then leave without completing the purchase. It can highlight issues in the checkout process, overall customer journey, or pricing strategies. And so a great example is, and I've said it before, is say I'm late night shopping online and I have a few things in my cart. I'm so excited to make my purchase. However, when I get to the checkout, it says you have to put your card information in. There's no PayPal. There's no Apple Pay. My card wasn't saved with the shop app. I have to manually put it in. Well, my card is downstairs and I'm in bed and it's 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to leave. I'm going to abandon my cart and go to bed. And I might forget about it. And so that is the abandonment rate. And that can highlight, again, the issues in the checkout process, the customer journey. And if you're not familiar with customer journey, it's really just like, it's quite literally the prospect who gets targeted with the ad. They click the link, they go to the landing page, they put an item in their cart, they go to the checkout process, go through the checkout process. That is the customer journey.
Well said.
All right, so we got COGS, cost of goods sold. This refers to the direct costs that attribute to the production of the goods sold by a company. This typically includes the cost of materials used in creating the product and the direct labor cost involved in its production. Now, when you hear this as a UGC creator or creative strategist, you might be like, well, why the heck do I need to know about COGS? One, it'd be really strange to hear COGS for the first time on a call and have it related to a conversation you guys are having and not know what it is, right? So it's just nice to know that this acronym exists, which again, coming from cold chain delivery, Shane and I are very familiar with cost of goods sold. And it's also important to keep in mind because when I was director of creative strategy at a health and wellness brand, I got very in the weeds of cost of goods sold related to how our ads were performing. Because it's not just showing like, oh, this ad did really well. It's got whatever ROAS and whatever. It's generating this much money. Being able to think outside of just this ad performance and understanding, well, this is how the business is doing. And this is everything related to the production of goods sold in the company. You start to realize, I want to raise that benchmark because even though this ad is doing really well for the company, maybe they're not actually pocketing anything. And this understanding is something that is important to have as a UGC creator too, because, and there's no fault here, but it's just important to keep in mind. It's not, oh, well, my ad did this, therefore, I deserve this much money, or I bring the company this much value. There are things behind the wall that you don't see. And even though your ad is generating, my ads have generated literally hundreds of millions of dollars since 2017. And even so, I understand that there are other factors at play that even though I did generate the money, there's so much more in this world that then is not like they're pocketing all this money that I generated. They could just be staying above the red.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like some examples are if you're advertising a new product, the cost of goods sold are probably higher because they haven't bought as much inventory. So they had to pay a higher margin, or they get a lower margin on it because they're only buying so much inventory. So just because they have a new product doesn't mean that they necessarily should be spending a lot of ad spend on it. Or like it's like the return on investment, changes. So it's always just good to know.
And also, I mean, we discussed this in UGC University, the B2B mindset, business to business. And, sometimes, and ultimately you run your business. I'm speaking through purely my experience. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just sharing my perspective to hopefully give you two sides of the coin. But when you understand these business objectives, these KPIs related to those business objectives, you start to understand when you're having these conversations, when you're negotiating, like, sure, if it's like Nike, it's a different conversation. But if you're talking to a startup and it's someone you've connected with, it's a product you like, it's a brand mission that you really like, and you're open, you have the bandwidth, you're open to working with them with your rates because you want to work with them in the long run. It's just taking into account that there are things that are, again, you can generate, like I did in 1 year, almost $50 million for a brand. And I still know that it's not like they pocketed $50 million.
Right.
It just,
That's true.
It's not pure profit. And it just goes back to the understanding of just, for lack of better words. Yeah. And there can sometimes be a little bit of entitlement where it's like, if you don't see the brand side, it can come off as the brand's like, well, I don't want to work with this person because they just don't understand.
Right. That's great. I love that.
So as far as churn rate goes, the percentage of customers or subscribers who stop using a product or service over a specific time period. So this indicates customer satisfaction and the product's value proposition. So when we talk about churn rate, or when you hear this in a conversation, this can be a few different things. If it's a subscription service or they have a product that does subscribe and save, there is a churn rate. This can also have to do with email. So if you had leads and they subscribe to your email list, there is a churn rate. And this is just something important to keep in mind, because if you are working with a brand like Imperfect Foods, they were one of my clients at a boutique agency that Shane and I worked at back in 2020. And I was working with their team directly. And that was one of the things top of mind was churn rate. How do we, and I know churn rate, you're like, well, I can't control whether someone like continues to buy or not, but you can in a way, because you can attract a certain type of customer who fits the mold of someone that is going to use it regularly. Maybe it's a busy mom of 3. Okay. So maybe that's the creative content we're going to make to be attractive to that person. Now, if it's a college student who doesn't have money, sure, there's going to be a higher churn rate. But there are things in our control as creatives when we understand these business objectives that we can control, or at the very least
or use
understand.
language that emphasizes the long-term value of a product. Like if your client's imperfect foods, it might be in that ad trying to work in something where it talks about the long-term benefit on the environment by reusing like what would be thrown away food, or talking about the health benefits of eating a more plant-rich diet, right? Like
Yep.
those things could be long-term value props that you might have left out, or the client wants to leave out, or isn't focused on, but that might help just a little bit increase or decrease churn. And some of those things can be effective, because sometimes I still think of the first ad I saw when I have a product. So your impact, especially on new customers, can be really effective.
Ooh, love
So
that.
also thinking about, in the creative strategy course, we talk about funnels and like where you're approaching them in terms of their awareness with the product. So that first level, we're not going to get into all that, but that awareness level of like speaking to new people, your ad's going to stick if they've never seen the product before. I remember the first ad I see every time for a brand, because it sticks. It's how you get them. So just think about that, because that could affect things like churn rate, especially if they're complaining about it.
That was a really good point. And also, it made me think about how, in addition to, eating maybe a plant-rich diet or the environmental impact, it can also be the money saved. And like, yes, it can be costly for food delivery services, but it's imperfect foods that would have been thrown out. It's whatever discounted rate, or it could be marketed as, well, if you're getting this box every single week, whatever times a month, you are actually saving money by not eating out. Shane and I are
Mhm.
chronic eater outers. We love
Right.
to dine. And it's like, if we were able to get an ad that's like, well, if you got a box a week, you could save X amount of money. That can help prevent churn. And also, it just reminded me, we talked about LTV, which is lifetime value.
Mhm.
Lifetime value and churn are very much directly related. We got a
Right.
lifetime value, and when that lifetime is up, they churn.
Right. You'll just hear it more when it's subscription
Yep,
stuff,
totally.
especially like apps. Like if you work for any software, like you'll hear that a lot.
So, organic acquisition traffic, this is the number of visitors who come to your site from unpaid search results or via social media. So this can be whether good or bad, these results can tell you what's working or what isn't in their organic campaigns and SEO. So what we mean by that is, say you follow Hero Cosmetics on Instagram and you just love their content, and you see a post and you connect with it and you go to the link in their bio and you click on it, or you click the shop now button on Instagram that they have now. But in this case, organic acquisition traffic, talking about SEO, would be going to the link in their bio, clicking it, watching, clicking it, and purchasing, or going to Google and being like, food delivered, organic, cheap,
Right.
and then imperfect foods comes up.
Just as maybe an aside too, is when you're trying to pitch clients, sometimes all they do is organic because it works so well.
Yep.
And so you might find that they might not even want to do any kind of paid
Yep.
work, or have no experience with it, because they've just, the return on investment is so high
Yep.
for organic content if you can get it to work.
Yep. Digital
Yeah.
products is a great example. Also, TikTok Shop nowadays. I know TikTok Shop probably takes a commission, a decent commission, but mostly through organic traffic, thanks to all the affiliates. So as far as AOV goes, average order value, the average amount spent by a customer in a single transaction. Now it's calculated by dividing the total revenue by the number of orders. Now it gives the insights into customer spending habits. You're definitely going to hear AOV, and you're going to hear AOV directly related to when the paid media manager, head of marketing is reviewing top ads. They're going to call out ads that had the highest average order value, because they want people who are going to spend not $20, but $200. And you are able to then reflect on the ad with the high AOV and figure out, okay, what did this ad do that really sold to make this bigger purchase? Or as a former director of creative strategy, is there a bundle? Is there an offer that can enhance the AOV?
Oh yeah.
Is it a after $99 you get free shipping?
Or
Higher
sometimes
AOV.
there's a little pop-up that's like, would you also want to add these things to cart? Like when you're on Uber Eats and it's like, well, do you want an extra side of fries and maybe a biscuit or a
Yep.
a donut? And it's like, okay, no, I don't want that. I just want my order. But sometimes, you think twice about it.
Yep.
I was gonna add, just as an example, I think this might even be in the section coming up, so I won't belabor it, but I worked for a client that was an underwear brand, and they do men and women's, but with men, it was really hard to get them to buy more than one pair of underwear. They would just buy one single pair. They were doing pretty well, but they wouldn't buy more than one pair. So part of the problem statement there was, how do we increase the average order value of men who click the ad and get them to buy a bigger bundle? So those kind of problems will come up all the time. All right. Setting creative objectives. We got here.
Woo.
All those boring metrics. It's falling asleep already. No, this is fun because now let's apply this stuff.
Can we really quickly just go back to the creative related?
Oh yeah, let's do it. And
just for a little brush up. We're not going to go through them. We're just going to go through So thumb stop rate, for anyone that isn't familiar, it's the rate at which when you're scrolling and how scroll stopping is your ad, basically. Right. Can you get the person to give your ad the time of day? View through rate, so this calculates the percentage of times that a video ad is watched to a certain point or completely compared to the total number of times that the ad is shown.
So basically, right.
How engaging is your ad? You got them at the hook, but was it a cheap hook? Was it clickbait? Right. We'll see, because if the view through rate is high, it means it was engaging.
Yep.
Click-through rate, very familiar with it just because we were talking about it, but this is basically how many people watched your ad long enough to then click the link to go to the landing page. Conversion rate, so this is the percentage of users who took a desired action after engaging with an ad relative to the total number who were targeted with the same ad. So ultimately, it measures the power of your call to action in the advertisement. Whereas acquisition rate, so while conversion rate is concerned with what those users do once they interact with your marketing content or platform, acquisition rate focuses on attracting new users or customers, measuring and tracking the growth of the customer base. So we kind of talked about like lifetime value. It's easier to, if someone already made one purchase, they're already interested enough to make one purchase, let's get them to rebuy. But while we are focused on those pre-existing customers, we also need the business to grow. So that is the acquisition rate. Mm-hmm. Return on ad spend. This is the revenue generated from the advertisement related to the total cost of that advertising. So it serves as a great benchmark of success for marketers. So a high ROAS means that not only are ads driving traffic, the website itself is doing a great job converting them into customers. And we say that because you as that creative can get them to click the link, but what they do from there is ultimately up to that customer journey that we talked about. Mm-hmm. And that is kind of, it shows, again, the website itself is doing a great job at converting them into customers.
And just because sometimes it can be kind of confusing, the way it's read is it's how many dollars you made per dollar of ad spend. Yep. So sometimes it'll be listed as like 5x, meaning you made 5 times the amount of ad spend in revenue from purchases, or sometimes it'll be read in a percentage. So it'll be like 500%. Or sometimes occasionally they'll list it more specifically as the dollar amount. But so just know that it's always a relative ratio of money made versus money spent.
For every dollar you spend, you made X.
Yeah.
Engagement rate. So this is the percentage of users who interact with content. So we're talking likes, shares, comments. Not only does it show really kind of like sentiment analysis, but it also, you're able to get tons of feedback in the comments. Like, oh, I wish I saw more plus size women in this ad. Oh, I tried the mango flavor and it tastes disgusting, whatever it is. You can learn a lot from engagement rate, and it can also just help the ad itself by having likes, comments, shares. All of a sudden you're getting organic growth when people are sharing it. Bounce rate. So this is the percentage of visitors who they got your ad, they click the link, they go to the landing page, they don't go anywhere else, and then they dip. Why? There was something that was not in line with the customer journey.
Oops.
Lifetime value. Oh, great.
Oh, no, that's it.
Nice. Love that. Perfect. Setting creative objectives. Let's do it.
Let's go. All right. So you were working with Greg. Greg is the founder of a health and wellness brand called Juicer. So Greg says, we just got performance feedback on the ad set we launched last week. Here are the notable stats to call out for this specific ad. Spend is about $1,186.93. Purchases, we got 7 purchases. So that makes our ROAS 0.88x. So that would be 88% if written alternatively. Cost per click is about $4. So it costs them $4 for every click. Thumb stop was 30%. So 30% of impressions stopped to watch the first 3 seconds. Hold rate, 53%. So of all the people that stopped to watch the first 3 seconds, held through a majority of the ad. And for us, these are both extremely strong thumb stop and hold rates. He's telling you these are very good metrics for them. This is above average
based on their ads
on their ads, right? The hold rate drops off heavily past the 35-ish second mark. Okay, so people generally stop watching after that point. From 20% of video plays down to 1%. So pretty much all of them drop off. Only other call out is 4 of the 7 purchases were on IG stories as an ad, not organic. How should we iterate on this concept to generate more sales?
And so this real quick, this whole strategy practice, this is actually not included in the free version for the creative strategy course. So this is like a bonus for anyone that's watching this. And these exercises, these examples, these practices are actual conversations from clients that I've had. I just changed the information, like as far as like the client name, the brand. So these are very real life examples. So maybe do we just give you guys a little bit of time to think about it, and then we can give you our example answer, because there's not exactly a specific right answer, just as long as you're using these KPIs and keeping them in mind for your next steps.
Let's just talk about it.
Yeah.
So I think actually we have answers coming up.
Yes.
So we'll just go through those.
Yeah. So one of the suggested next steps is, so with extremely strong thumb stop and hold rates, and taking into account the above drop-offs, which the drop-off rate is roughly at the 35-second marker, I would test seeing if we can edit down the video to around that 30 to 35 seconds while retaining the strong first 10 seconds, since the thumb stop is working already. I would also ensure that the ad is sized for stories, which is 9 by 16, as opposed to being 4 by 5 to feel more native and in the stories ad slot. Now, the reason why I suggest the resize is because a lot of brands, what they'll do is they'll start with the 4 by 5, and if it shows promise, they will then resize it to 9 by 16, meaning they are launching what is this little aspect ratio here on stories, which is like this. So it doesn't feel fully native just yet. So that is one of many suggestions. And I say many suggestions just because, depending on the KPIs provided, it could be, okay, well, let's rework everything after the 35-second marker because there was a drop off. Do we want to try to see if we can retain viewership, or do we really just want to do a cut down? Or because 4 of the 7 purchases were on IG stories, do we try to make 2 versions, one that fits IG stories and one that is more native to maybe Facebook feed if it's being run on Facebook, since Instagram and Facebook are owned by the same company?
I'd also even add, looking at this now again, is the ROAS is just close to being profitable, breaking even. Maybe this is a time when average order value could be a benefit, right? Seeing if the ROAS isn't as high, maybe there would be an opportunity here to test to see if we try and promote more like a bundle, or we try and promote a selection of products. I guess since it's a health and wellness brand called Juicer, I assume there's like maybe different types of juices or things of that nature. So trying to see if we could bump up the ROAS with a higher average order value would be really great. And I'd want to understand what their average order value is on these ads.
It's a great follow-up question.
All right, let's do the next one. You've
All
teamed
right.
up. Oh, you've teamed up with Natasha, a co-founder of a pet accessory brand called Pet Pizzazz. She says our TikTok ads thumb stop rate for our quirky dog hats campaign is impressive. Our engagement rate is also high, and we are getting such nice comments. However, the CTR is low in comparison, the click-through rate. What is stopping people from clicking through? We need to up our sales ASAP.
So based on that conversation, it sounds like, okay, well, there's dogs. They're obviously very cute. They got these little quirky hats. So of course the engagement rate is high. People are sharing it. They're commenting. They're liking. Who doesn't love a good dog video? However, the click-through rate is so much lower in comparison. We need sales ASAP. What do we do? So a suggested next step could be a few versions where the hook features the welcome offer to get the viewers to click the link, upping CTR, leading to hopefully more conversions. I say hopefully because obviously if we up click-through rate, we still have the customer journey. Is there going to be a higher bounce rate on the landing page? We don't know. But by putting the welcome offer in the hook of the video, maybe it's buy one, get one, 25% off your first purchase, whatever. We all love a good deal. I'm an easy sell if there's a promo. So again, hopefully leading to more conversions. I would also consider slipping in supplemental social proof or USPSs, so unique selling points. Maybe the viewers find the content entertaining, which is why we have a higher engagement rate, but need additional info to solidify their trust in the product and brand. Ultimately, the eyeballs are there. We just need to get them to click the link.
I feel like also there's a couple other thoughts that sometimes seem obvious, but there could be the underlying question: do they know that this is a product to buy? Like sometimes it can be kind of not obvious what's going on. You thought maybe, oh, this is somebody's Etsy shop or something, right? Or this is just like a cute thing. They might not understand that this is a product I could buy right now. So, or maybe this is like something that you say, hey, this is really just an organic post. This is a better organic post. Why don't we completely rework it into the direct response formula to really see if we can sell some hats? some dog
Yeah,
hats.
which goes back to slipping in maybe supplemental social
Right.
proof. It could
Right.
be
Right.
verified reviews, positive customer testimonials, whatever it is, or unique selling points. You know, they're quirky dog hats, but like, why would I want to buy them? What makes them unique in the sense of like, why would I invest into this product?
I did see a couple questions we didn't touch on. So
Oh, interesting. I'm not getting any question. Oh, whoa.
they're
Just all
they got
loaded.
mixed up in our order.
Whoa.
So Melissa asks, so glad you're touching on this. I was going to ask what your stance was on creatives that fail and where the fault lies. You hear so much about ecom bros blaming creatives for any fails, but if it sounds like you fall somewhere, it sounds like you fall somewhere in the middle of that argument.
Ooh, that is a wonderful question, Melissa, because Shane, you can get rid of the question at the end, just so
Oh
you
yeah.
can see your face too. Coming from an agency background, Shane and I have totally seen that side where it's like, oh, well, the creative just didn't do well. So it's like the creative's fault.
Right.
It's like, okay, well, let's see the KPIs here. So these KPIs, they tell a story. There are details that you can collect with these key performance indicators to show whether or not it was the ad or if it was the landing page, if it was the UGC concept or if it was the customer journey. And all of that aside, every marketer should, if they don't know, they should know that most of your ads are not going to work. Most ads are
1,000,000%.
not, at least not the first time. The winners are found in the iterations. We pivot based on key performance indicator feedback. If we have a high thumb stop rate and a high view through rate, but no click through rate, there is something with the call to action that needs to be tweaked. Maybe the promo needs to be featured in the hook. Maybe the sales sequence of the video needs to be rearranged, whatever it is. There are ways for you to almost have like ammunition or defense when it comes to that response. Hopefully, you don't have a client that puts the blame or direct fault on you. But if they do, that is where questions come.
Right.
Hey, I'd love to know if you could share. You're saying the ad didn't perform well. Can you please share the thumb stop rate? Can you share the view through rate?
Yeah.
Can you share the click through rate? Can you share the ROAS? Also, can you share the bounce rate? Because that's going to be very interesting to note. And so when we get familiar with these KPIs, if they respond and they say, oh, well, actually, this ad had the highest click through rate on our entire account, but no one purchased, then it's like, okay, well, if it had the highest click through rate on your account, we should actually look at the congruency of the ad in your landing page.
Yep.
Maybe there should be added social proof on the landing page. Maybe there could be a UGC video on the landing page. And that is where prescriptive feedback can come into play. So I'm sorry if this is something you're experiencing right now, Melissa, because if I had known what I know now, I would have not felt so almost like, oh, it was my fault that this didn't work early on in my career. And it's very easy to feel that way when marketers who don't understand the full game at play just put blame on creative. It's the easiest and laziest thing to do. But as that UGC creator, as that creative strategist, if you can ask the right questions and also just understand and come to terms with the fact that every ad that you create is not going to win, and actually it's quite the opposite, and that the winners are created in that performance feedback, that's really all that matters. But you have to have a client that's understanding of this, because if the client says, oh, well, this first round of creative just didn't work, we don't want to work with you. Okay, well, you don't want to work with them in the first place. But if you get that feedback on the ad that didn't perform well and the creative KPIs are showing that the thumb stop was low, or maybe the view through rate was low, or maybe the drop off rate was low, whatever it is, you can pivot, you can fix it. Oh, wow, the hook wasn't as engaging as I had thought it was. Let me create 3 new iterations. I'll keep the entire rest of the video the same, but let's test new hooks. Let's go there.
So something I've been telling people is, and I think it still always remains good advice, is that the worst thing you can do is hit all of your benchmarks with just middling results. Like they're not bad, they're not good, because then you learn nothing. So you should always be pitching to a client that tells you that you got your video did poorly. You should tell them, well, great. That means we learned something. We learned that this doesn't work.
Yep.
Right. But they don't get that. They go, oh, no, you failed. We lost money. Well, we're not just throwing ads at the wall. We're testing things. So if their mindset is that they want profit constantly, they're not understanding the concept that they should be testing and learning things. Or they'll go, well, UGC just doesn't work. Well, okay, let's really dive into that, because how many types of UGC have you tested?
Yep.
We know that maybe these types of UGC haven't worked because we saw that they didn't work, and that's great. That teaches us something. So just you should always be championing those fails as a learning. Because when you run an experiment and things don't go as planned, you should know, you should learn from it.
Absolutely. And I just wanted to pull this back up just because I wanted to read it before moving on about where the fault lies. And just obviously it depends on the point of contact that you have, but it's all learning. And I forget the exact line that I said in my Business Insider article, but it was basically like, hearing that your ad didn't perform sucks, but what separates the UGC creators who don't really make it big as far as performance goes, and the ones that are making their clients millions of dollars, and the ones that are also the most successful are the ones that take that performance feedback and pivot based on it.
Mm-hmm. It's great. I think that's it in terms of questions.
Nice.
And for those of you that are on Twitter, and we have a lot of people on Twitter today.
Oh, that's amazing.
Join us on YouTube if you want to chat too.
Yeah.
These will all be saved on YouTube. So,
and subscribe and turn on post notifications. 2024 is the year that Shane and I are doubling down on YouTube.
Hell yeah. We're excited. We love this whole medium. Is great.
Yeah.
Let's do another strategy practice. You're teamed up with Liam, a paid media manager of a reusable metal straw brand called EcoSips. I'm really proud of these fake brands that we came up with. They're fun. I just checked our ads. I just I just checked how our ads are doing, and this one in particular stood out to me. We spent.
Oop. Hello. Whoa. Am I the only one seeing this? You're muted. You're muted.
I know. Yeah, I'm good now.
I don't know what happened, but hi.
That was just me. I have some cords underneath my desk that I need to fix.
Okay, maybe start over.
I will start over. I checked how our ads are doing, and this one in particular stood out to me. $1,400, 16 purchases, 1.7 ROAS. Cost per click was about $6. Thumb stop 17%, hold rate 30%. This version that is getting the traction has the hook with a bunch of straws falling, filling the screen, whereas the other two are just the creator talking. We're converting extremely strong, whereas the thumb stop is very low at almost half of target. Focus should be on this. Only other thing to note is that the hold rate is very strong. Can you help lead strategy on this?
Nice. And again, these are all real conversations with paid media managers, just different brand and point of contact name. So let's go ahead and pull up the suggested next steps. So my initial thought and hypothesis is if we can improve the thumb stop, in theory, it should bring down very high CPCs, therefore making this ad perform even stronger than it already is, cost per clicks, which means, really, when you're able to improve the thumb stop and get people to stop in their tracks, most of the time, as long as it's not clickbaity, it means that the video is connecting to that person, which then can lead to more clicks, therefore making this ad perform even stronger than it already is. If an ad is not engaging a low thumb stop rate, it may result in fewer clicks. This means you're paying More per click, higher CPC for less engagement. In contrast, a high thumbs up rate usually translates to a higher click-through rate, potentially lowering your cost per click because your ad is effective enough to get more clicks for the same budget.
Hopefully that makes sense. If you have any questions on that, let us know.
Perfect.
You've teamed up with Claire, an entrepreneur with an artisanal candle brand called Luminescence. Our meta ads boast a thumb stop rate of 72% and a commendable click-through rate of 2.6. Even our AOV and LTV shows consistent growth, but our website bounce rate is at 58%. Could our landing page be the disconnect?
Ooh. So as far as suggested next steps go, there are a few reasons why the landing page may be the barrier for stronger performance. To most accurately address this, we should A/B test a series of landing pages to see which ones overcome this bounce rate issue. Now, if you're just a UGC creator not doing creative strategy, this conversation might not come up, being that this is from the creative strategy course. But as a creative strategist, you are not just writing scripts for UGC creators. You are doing so much more than that. And this is coming from, again, former director of creative strategy of a top direct-to-consumer brand or for multiple top direct-to-consumer brands. Literally one of the companies I worked internally for, we were spending $3 million a month on Facebook alone. And so you're paying attention to things such as landing pages. Where is the bounce rate at? And again, to most accurately address this issue that we're talking about now, we should be A/B testing a series of landing pages to see which ones overcome this bounce rate issue. Also, if you're a brand and you are spending over $500,000 a month, you should 100% be A/B testing landing pages. I know there are budget constraints, but they should be A/B testing. Anyways, we should look at the ads with your highest thumb stop rates and click-through rates and see how we can better enhance the customer journey. We talked about this earlier. From when they click the link, they go to the landing page, they're bouncing right away. We should look at the ads with your highest thumb stop rates and click-through rates and see how we can better enhance the customer journey. So what are those ads that performed well doing that you can implement into your creative? Now, they obviously like what they're being targeted with ad-wise. Now it's just a matter of making the landing page cohesive to what they've been shown as an ad.
Marta asked if she was late.
Marta, I'm so happy to see you though.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been on for an hour, but we are going through the creative strategy course, which I know that you already have. So if anything, this is really just a refresh, but we went through business related KPIs, and now we're going through the strategy practice. And of course, taking any questions that you guys have at any point.
See, how many more of these do we have? We got a few of these. Should we just do one more?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Let's see what we got here. Let's just do this one. You've teamed up with Victor, the CMO of an investment platform called Nesty. Our TikTok ads have a strong click-through rate and conversion rate. Unfortunately, though, this seems to be because of our first $20 are on us sign-up promotion. Our ROAS is barely having us break even, and we see a consistently low lifetime value. Most users don't end up investing their own money. What kind of creative can we use when retargeting users who signed up with the end goal of encouraging them to invest their own money?
Ooh. You said it right there, Victor. We should focus on encouraging them to invest their own money. It's a lot easier to invest someone else's money than your own. We should create a retargeting campaign, meaning for anyone that showed interest to the initial ad, which was the first $20 is on us. So basically anyone that was interested, that showed promise in this offer, we should do a retargeting campaign where we educate the viewer on creative and simple ways to invest your first $100. If you can find the balance of educational and entertaining, which is also known as edutainment, while keeping the stakes low, only $100, they will get more comfortable and confident in their investing, enabling them to flex the muscle.
Yeah, I think it's great. I mean, never forget that sometimes a retargeting campaign could be the most profitable part of the business.
Yep.
Because you need a couple tries to get customers on board.
Absolutely. And also, like in this case, it's like if you already have people who got their first $20 on us, how can you take those users to now start flexing the investing muscle? Or, that's just one example of, okay, well, they already purchased. Now, how do we get them to buy more? And this is a problem that a lot of brands face because having worked internally and also contractually with different direct-to-consumer brands, the welcome offer can be both a blessing and a curse. And if you have not yet heard that from your point of contact, you will hear it at some point. And I say that because when I worked internally at 310 Nutrition, we had a $9 starter kit. You get like 3 to 4 different flavor packets of different shake flavors to try them out, single serve. You get a little mini shaker cup and a $10 gift card to go towards your next purchase. And you're able to secure all those customers at $9. But when you secure people with a promo, if they are the promo type of customer, that's all they're ever going to want.
Right.
But we came up with a retargeting campaign where we did a buy one, get one, 50% off. And so it was the full size bags. It was still a promo, but it heightened the average order value. Because now all of a sudden it wasn't just 3 or 4 little shake packets. They are 2 big bags of shakes that are, 2 months worth.
Like even for this example, I would try and see if they would be willing to do like a match. Like we'll match your first $100, right? So then all of a sudden it's like, well, we're spending more, but they're they're also putting in their own money of $100, right? Or we'll match 50% or something, right? The first, like giving somebody free money or free money on the platform, could be tough. So they might need to work on the welcome offer.
Now, there are a few others, but we're going to leave that in the creative strategy course, which if you guys haven't already invested into it, visit our website is literally just ugc.pro. Best URL ever, in my opinion. But you should 100% invest into it, even if you are still figuring out your ways in UGC, because the more you know, the more you're able to match analytical with creative, the more power you have as a contractor, the more positive performance you can create for your clients, which then means the more negotiation power you have as that creative contractor. If you're able to make your client more money, you do have more power to negotiate your rates. Perfect example is working with a brand where the top 18 out of 20 ads in less than 12 months were all my ads. They were able to leave Tube Science, which is one of the most respected direct response creative agencies in the country. And I was able to have negotiate an $80,000 contract working less than part-time. And that was a huge reason why in 2022, I was able to hit the 6-figure marker working, only 10 to 15 hours a week. And it was because those 18 out of 20 ads generated the company $49 million in like 8 months. So the more you can, again, the more that you know creative strategy, the better off you'll be. And also, if you want to become a creative strategist, being a creative strategist is not just writing scripts for UGC creators. There is so much more involved. It is really just scratching the surface. So we highly recommend that you guys invest into the creative strategy course. It is well worth it. And then Shane, I want to hand this off to you, and I want you to give a little preview of UGC University, whether it's the website, whatever it is. Can you give the people just a little breadcrumbs, just a little bit?
Oh, I'll give you we're working on the website right now, but let's just share what we got here because I have it right here. Oops. There we go. UGC University is coming. It's pretty incredible course. we're trying to cover everything from A to Z in terms of like how to get started as a UGC creator if you don't know like the basics about what's going on. Maybe you're unsure exactly of all the mechanisms that are happening in order to start this business. But then we go really in depth for people that are obviously, even pros or people who have experience. It goes really in depth and takes you into uh, literally every aspect of not only how to create good ads, the types of concepts you can create, the types of shots you can take, but also how to run your business effectively, cold email. We have a lot of uh, presentation templates
Yep.
included in that are from our creative strategy course. We also have some Canva portfolio templates that you
Yep.
can use that are just designed to convert. Um, we teach you how to do lead generation. If you remember that from you will have your own lead generation form on your website that is proven to increase the likeliness of leads coming your way. So we have a lot of these um, little aspects that combine to be we have the math here. Um, let's see. It's 24 chapters. It's a 9-hour course. The lesson plan is 234 pages. You also get included with it. You get access to our UGC dashboard in Notion. Um, it's wild.
Yeah, it's pretty insane. Like Shane said, 9 hours of video lessons, 33 page lesson plan, 24 in-depth chapters, a UGC glossary with nearly 40 UGC concept types, our shot list tool belt with nearly 40 ideas on how to shoot your content, 2 portfolio templates. One is Canva, one is Super if you want to move on from Canva. There's also a rate card template to share with clients, 3 presentation templates to help you pitch clients and win deals. Shane said access to our UGC Notion dashboard, a client onboarding survey with Tally, 50 viral hooks, real life exercises throughout the course to begin flexing your UGC muscle and implementing what you're learning in the real moment. Before filming checklist, a platform guide with respective safe zones. So much value. So
So much
much
value.
value. We want to make this education accessible to all. And I promise you, even if you've been doing UGC for over a year, 2 years, 3 years, there is something in this course that is going to help your business become more efficient, make more money, whatever it is.
Oh my god. It's only $99. Um with the offer promo, I think it's selling for 120, but it'll be available for 99
For
at
like the
launch.
first 24 hours. Like this is going to be like a very limited deal.
Right. So we're super excited to share this with you guys, and we'll keep you updated as we go.
Yep,
But it should be
absolutely.
within the next week or so. We should be ready.
Yeah, so
But we'll
stay
see.
tuned. And then anyone that already has the blueprint is going to be getting it for free, just as
I
a
was
thank
also
you
going
for
to end
investing into it.
about the census that we're doing.
Ooh, yeah. You can share as much or
Sure,
as
sure.
little information
So
as you want.
you'll be able to get a discount on this course if you're able to do but you could also just do the census if you like, because it's going to be this really um, interesting experiment for us, but we need it as an industry. What it is, a census, if you're not familiar, it's just gathering information from around the community so we all get really great information and feedback from each other so that we know certain points of data. And those data points would be uh, how much are people charging for their concepts? What is uh, are people doing usage rights, and how long are they doing usage rights? What kind of contracts are you using? What creators or coaches have proven to have the best material that to get started? Um, a lot of information that will hopefully be very informative so that we can do a report and be able to publish the results. Possibly now that we're connected at Entrepreneur and Forbes, possibly publishing the results there for everybody, so that we all get a really good overview of what other people are doing in this industry.
Yes.
So if you can fill out that, we're going to offer a discount on this course. But if you don't want the course necessarily yet, but you still want to contribute, I think that's amazing, and it'll still be available.
Yep. It's going to be incredible. This is not for UGC Pro. This is for the industry at large, just because it is so up and coming. And there is information that is going to be so informative for every single person. It's going to be published. And like Shane said, we're both, I don't know if you guys heard, last time we talked about me becoming a Forbes Business Council contributor, which means that I am writing articles for Forbes about UGC. Guess who was also recently inducted into the Forbes Council? Shane Murphy. So congratulations, Shane.
Oh yeah, we both made it.
Alluded to a small detail. He also was accepted into Entrepreneur. So not only are we going to be talking in sharing articles that we are writing for Forbes, the two of us, Shane is now also going to be contributing at Entrepreneur. And this is a huge, huge, huge win for the UGC community. This is not for Shane, not for me, not even really for UGC Pro. This is UGC is still so undercovered, underappreciated, underdiscussed. This is going to help really shine a light on our industry, giving you guys more power for negotiation, being recognized for your value, your efforts. And yeah, I'm just really excited.
We're so excited. I just want to read this comment here. This is already changing my life, guys. I have only been able to focus on pitching and creating for 2 weeks, and I've secured 5 deals, only 1 gifted.
Let's
Hell yeah.
go. Let's go. That is so exciting. Wow. Congratulations. That makes me so happy. I have to screenshot that. That is amazing. Oh my gosh.
I'm surprised there's so many paleontology brands out there that want to work with you, but no, I'm just kidding. That's so cool. Congrats, and let us know if you learned anything along the way that made it easier.
Ooh, this was a really good question too. Will you have an affiliate link available for UGC University as well?
Yes.
Yes.
For sure. We're for sure having an affiliate link.
Which is very exciting because like one of the discussions in the community, and I'll make this brief because I know that we're over, is it's like creators want to create multiple sources of income. Therefore, they're like, well, do I have to create a guide? No, we're providing an affiliate program for you guys to literally monetize off of pre-existing resources. So we have an affiliate program with our creative strategy course. You can literally get close to $60 for every referral that you have for the creative strategy course. That is incredible. That is more than most UGC guides.
Yep. So put it in your link in bio. Put it wherever.
Link in bio, your stand store, your whatever's.
So
put
then
it there.
This one I think will be also. We're trying to keep it at 20% for our digital products. So 20% of the creative strategy course, 20% of the UGC University. So, I mean, it's great. It's just you don't even have to think about doing. You're obviously welcome to, but you don't have to think about making a digital product. Just put the link to UGC Pro resources, and you'll assuredly make more money that way.
Yes, exactly. Monetize off of us, please. Yep. We're happy to be that platform. But all that goes to say, we're going to end it here. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. Shane and I are back on our live schedule. So stay tuned for next week's announcement as to what we will be discussing. And outside of that, do you have anything else you want to say, Shane?
No. Thanks, everybody. We love being back.
Yeah, it was so nice. See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.